It started like any other summer afternoon: coffee, small talk, and a dating app swipe that felt almost promising. Then the words came, sharp enough to slice through the screen: I promised myself never again. What began as an awkward rejection turned into something far darker, something I couldn't explain. By the time I noticed the black SUV in the mirror, it was already too late to wonder if this was just coincidence. Some stories don't end, they follow you home. It was one of those heavy Carolina afternoons when the air feels like wet wool clinging to your skin. Charlotte in July is a different kind of heat: sticky, loud, restless. I sat in my car outside a coffee shop off Tryon Street, letting the AC fight a losing battle against the sun. I should have gone inside, but I didn't feel like squeezing between laptops and earbuds. I just wanted a few quiet minutes before heading back to work at the insurance office. The smell of roasted beans drifted every time someone pushed open the glass door. A little bell chimed, footsteps crunched on gravel, laughter rose and fell, all muted through the windshield. I scrolled aimlessly through my phone. Work emails, news headlines, the same cycle of bad stories and worse comments. Then my thumb hovered over the dating app icon. I almost didn't tap it. Almost. The feed loaded slow, spinning like it knew I was second-guessing. Profile after profile, bright smiles and curated captions. Most of them didn't look like me. When they did, the bios always carried this extra weight: this need to prove something, educated, no drama, level-headed. Like we're auditioning just to be seen as normal. I was about to close the app when her picture stopped me. Angela. Brown skin glowing against a mural bursting with colors, curls framing her face like a crown. She wore this loose yellow sundress that almost looked alive in the sun. Her bio was short: no gimmicks, love live music and good conversation. No games. It felt honest. I hit like. She matched back within seconds, like she was waiting for me. That small thrill hit my chest, the kind I don't get often anymore. We started chatting, easy and light. She told me about her new job in tech support, how she hated small talk but loved dive bars with good bands. I told her about working in claims, how I still spin vinyl when I need peace. She dropped laughing emojis at my bad puns, and for a moment, I forgot the heat pressing through the windows. Then, without warning, the tone shifted. "You sure you're real?" she typed. I stared at the words, confused. "Yeah," I wrote back. "Last I checked." I added a smiling emoji to soften it, but something in my gut tightened. "You just seem too good to be true," she said. "Guys like you don't usually swipe on me." It stung, though I wasn't sure why. I sent her a photo: me at Freedom Park last weekend, sun on my face, hand resting on the bench. The little typing bubble flickered, then vanished. A full minute passed before her reply popped up. "Sorry, but I can't. My ex was black, and it was too much drama. I promised myself never again." I blinked, reading it twice, 3 times, trying to make the words rearrange into something that made sense. I typed out, "You're black too," then erased it. My fingers hovered over the screen, heavy like stones. Finally, I settled on, "Okay. Take care." She read it instantly. No reply. Her green dot stayed lit for a while, like she was still there, staring at the screen the same way I was. That's when I saw the SUV. Big, black, parked 2 rows across. Engine idling. Tinted windows swallowing the daylight. It hadn't been there before. Or maybe it had, and I just hadn't noticed. My pulse ticked louder than the hum of my AC. I told myself it was nothing. Just another car. Just another hot day in Charlotte. But when I looked in the mirror again, the driver's side window had rolled down an inch, just enough for a pair of eyes to watch me, plus. I kept my eyes forward, pretending not to notice, but every second that passed dragged like wet cement. The SUV's engine rumbled low, steady. My own reflection in the windshield looked like a stranger, jaw tight, breathing shallow. I told myself to stay calm. Maybe he's waiting for someone inside. Maybe he's scrolling his phone like I was. But when I checked again, the sliver of glass was still angled just enough for a pair of eyes to lock on mine. Not blinking. Not moving. I started the car. My hands shook as I wrapped them around the wheel, trying to keep the motion smooth, normal. I pulled out slow, letting the gravel crunch under my tires. The sunlight glared off storefront windows, a brightness that felt almost hostile now. When I hit the first light on Tryon, I glanced at the mirror. The SUV rolled out behind me. 2 cars back. Same lane. I told myself not to panic. Take the long way home. Lose him in traffic. I turned down 4th Street, then left past the Shell station. The SUV stayed there, easing through every turn like a shadow stitched to my bumper. My phone buzzed on the passenger seat. I grabbed it, fingers slippery with sweat, and called my friend Maya. She answered on the second ring, her voice warm, familiar, like a rope thrown to someone drowning. "What's up?" she asked. "I think someone's following me," I whispered, glancing at the mirror. The SUV loomed closer now, grille glinting under the sun. I told her about the coffee shop, the dating app, Angela. How everything felt wrong the second she blocked me. Silence stretched on the line before Maya spoke. "Where are you right now?" "South End. Headed toward Remount." "Okay. Don't go home. Go somewhere public. A gas station, a grocery store, anywhere with people." "Now." My throat tightened around the word. "Okay." The nearest gas station was half a mile ahead, a cluster of flickering fluorescent lights and faded pump numbers. I pressed the gas, the hum of my engine climbing in time with my heartbeat. I pulled in hard, tires spitting gravel, and parked near the front. A couple of people milled around, one woman filling her tank, a man in a ball cap walking out with a drink. Normalcy. Safety. I cut the engine, exhaling like I'd been holding my breath for hours. The SUV rolled in behind me. Slow. Deliberate. It didn't stop at a pump. It didn't park. It circled once, heavy tires grinding over asphalt. My pulse pounded so loud it swallowed the sound of everything else. I turned slightly, trying to catch a glimpse through the tint. Nothing. Just that void of black glass swallowing my reflection. Then the SUV paused at the exit. Idled there like it was thinking. My grip on the wheel tightened until my knuckles ached. Finally, it pulled out onto the street and disappeared, taillights winking red in the distance. I sat frozen, waiting for my lungs to work again. Maya was still on the line, her voice breaking through the static. "You okay?" "Yeah," I lied. That night, I opened the app again. Angela's profile was gone. Not unmatched. Gone, like it had never existed. The chat thread wiped clean, her smile erased from the digital ether. I couldn't stop thinking about that mural in her picture, the riot of colors splashed across brick, the sunlight flaring over her shoulder. The next day, I drove through every corner of the city, searching for it. West End, Noda, Plaza Midwood. Block after block, mural after mural, none of them matched. By sunset, I sat in my car with the engine off, staring at my own reflection in the glass. For the first time in years, I felt like something had marked me, like a quiet target had been drawn that I couldn't see. Somewhere out there, a black SUV could be idling again, engine humming, windows rolled down just enough for a pair of eyes to watch me. And if it is, I don't think I'd ever notice in time. A rainy night, a dating app swipe, and a conversation that seemed harmless, at first. Then came the message that froze me in place: "You don't belong there." From that moment, everything felt wrong. The car behind me. The way it never backed off. Some warnings aren't meant to be ignored, but by the time I understood that, it was too late. I was sitting in my car outside a Panera on a Tuesday evening, waiting for the rain to stop. The storm came out of nowhere, fat drops hammering the windshield, smearing the neon glow from the strip mall across the glass. My shift at the warehouse had run late, and I didn't feel like driving home in this. The air smelled like wet asphalt and fried food from the drive-thru next door. I scrolled through my phone out of boredom. Work emails, sports scores, the usual noise. Then my thumb hovered over the dating app. I hadn't opened it in weeks, maybe months. Every time I did, it felt like stepping into a room where nobody saw me, or worse, they saw me and had already decided who I was. But tonight, maybe because the rain made everything feel slower, softer, I tapped the icon. Profiles loaded, faces under perfect lighting, captions full of wanderlust and craft cocktails. I swiped left. 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 Then I saw her. Melissa. Blonde bob, green eyes, sitting on a patio with a glass of wine in her hand. Her smile looked easy, like she didn't take herself too seriously. Her bio read, looking for someone who's real. No hookups. Bonus points if you like dogs. Simple. Normal. I swiped right. The screen blinked, it's a match. That tiny rush hit me, the one that says maybe this time will be different. She messaged first, "Hey." I replied, and the conversation rolled from there. She asked about my favorite movies, laughed at my bad jokes, told me about her work as a dental hygienist. For a while, it felt almost natural. Then she asked for a picture. I hesitated, though I don't know why. My profile had pictures, but something about the way she asked made my chest tighten. Still, I snapped a quick selfie, me in the car, rain streaking down the glass behind me. Sent it. The typing bubble popped up, then disappeared. Came back. Disappeared again. When her message finally landed, it wasn't what I expected. "Oh. You're black." I stared at the screen. Just those 3 words. No emoji this time. "Yeah," I typed back, then deleted it. I tried again, "Is that a problem?" My finger hovered over send, then pressed it. The reply came fast. "No, it's just not what I expected. I've never dated a black guy before. My parents would freak." Something cold slid down my spine, though the car was warm. My fingers hovered over the screen. I didn't know whether to laugh, log off, or explain why that sentence made my stomach knot. Before I could decide, another message appeared. "You seem nice though. Honestly, better than most guys on here. But I don't know. I'd have to think about it." Think about it. Like I was a job application she wasn't sure about. I typed, "It's cool, take care," and hit send. The green dot next to her name blinked out a few seconds later. The rain had stopped by then, leaving the streets slick and shining. I set my phone on the console, started the engine, and pulled out. Tried to shake off the weight pressing behind my ribs. It was just an app. Just some girl. At the first light, I checked my mirror. A white sedan slid into the lane behind me, headlights glaring through the mist. Nothing unusual about that. I turned left. It turned too. By the 3rd turn, my stomach knew before my mind did. The car wasn't just behind me, it was following. The roads glistened like black glass, rainwater pooling in dips along the curb. Streetlights reflected in the sheen, breaking into ripples as my tires rolled through. I kept glancing at the mirror, telling myself not to, telling myself it was just a car heading the same way. But the white sedan stayed with me. 3 turns now, every signal, every lane change mirrored like choreography. No rush. No aggression. Just there. I gripped the wheel tighter, knuckles paling against the dark leather. My chest felt tight, the way it does before a storm, even though the rain had passed. I tried to think rational. Maybe they live nearby, maybe they're headed to the highway too. Then the notification buzzed on my phone, slicing through the hum of the engine. The dating app icon. I shouldn't have checked, but I did. It wasn't Melissa. The message came from an account I didn't remember matching with. No profile picture, just a gray silhouette. You don't belong there. I froze. The words burned against the screen, stark and sharp. No emojis. No explanation. Just that. Before I could even breathe, another message followed. Go home. I stared so long I almost missed the green light. My hand shook as I tossed the phone onto the passenger seat, heart slamming so hard it hurt. The sedan behind me idled patiently, headlights glaring in the mist. I made a split-second decision and turned right, away from my neighborhood, toward a well-lit stretch of shops that might still be open. The sedan turned too. My breath came shallow now, the taste of metal flooding my mouth. I pushed the speed up, tires hissing against the wet pavement. When I passed a Shell station glowing under fluorescent lights, I pulled in fast, swinging around the first pump. My eyes darted to the mirror. The sedan glided in behind me. Slow. Silent. It didn't stop at a pump. It didn't park. It rolled past me, circled once, tires whispering over wet asphalt, then paused near the exit. I couldn't see the driver. The tint was too dark, or maybe the shadows inside were too deep. For a moment, we just sat there, engines murmuring like two low voices. Then, without signaling, the sedan pulled out and drifted back onto the road, taillights glowing faint red until they disappeared into the night. I stayed where I was for a long time, hands welded to the wheel, heart battering my ribs. A woman at the next pump gave me a strange look, like she could see the panic radiating off me. Eventually, I started the car and drove home, every turn feeling like it stretched a mile. My phone stayed face down on the console. When I finally walked into my apartment, the silence hit harder than the rain ever could. I picked up the phone, thumb trembling as I opened the app again. Melissa's profile was gone. Like she'd never existed. That other profile, the one that told me to go home, was gone too. The thread wiped clean. I sat on the edge of my bed, phone in hand, the glow bleaching my fingers bone white. Outside, somewhere beyond the glass, a car hummed by slow. Just a car, I told myself. Just another night. But every time headlights sweep across my blinds now, my body locks up. Because I can't shake the thought that maybe the app wasn't just an app. Maybe it was a door. And someone out there didn't like that I opened it. After 2 years of silence, I thought I was ready to try again, ready to let someone in. A dating app seemed harmless enough. Then came the messages. First from the man I trusted, then from someone who never showed their face. By the time I saw the black sedan waiting under the trees, it was too late to wonder who was really behind the screen. The first thing you notice after divorce isn't freedom, it's the silence. That heavy kind that sits in the corners of your house, in the spaces where laughter used to live. For 2 years, I tried to fill it with work, with friends, with Sunday mornings spent rearranging furniture for no reason. But the silence always came back. I'm 47. Black. Divorced after 21 years of marriage. Starting over wasn't in my plans, but here I was, on a warm Thursday night in Atlanta, staring at a dating app on my phone like it might hold an answer. The app felt like another world, faces smiling under perfect lighting, bios that sounded like commercials. I'd sworn I'd never do this, but loneliness makes you reconsider things you used to laugh at. After a glass of wine, I told myself it wouldn't hurt to look. Just look. I scrolled past the usual, men posing with fish, leaning on cars, sitting with dogs. Then one profile stopped me. Greg, 52. Widower. Loves jazz and good conversation. His photo was simple, him in a button-up, gray at his temples, warm smile. He looked safe. I hesitated before swiping right. When the "It's a Match" banner flashed, my stomach fluttered like I was 18 again. Almost immediately, a message popped up. Evening, beautiful. How's your night? I smiled at the screen, a little embarrassed by how much that one line made me feel seen. We talked for hours, about Coltrane, about how Atlanta traffic is a nightmare, about his grown kids and my daughter in college. His voice in my head sounded calm, steady, the kind of voice you want next to you when life gets loud. After a week of messages and late-night laughs, he asked if I wanted to meet for coffee. Public place, bright daylight, my rules, not his. He agreed without hesitation. We set it for Saturday, 11 a.m., a cafe near Piedmont Park. Saturday came warm and clear. I put on my favorite navy dress, the one that made me feel soft and strong at the same time. I got there early, ordered an iced latte, sat by the window. 10 minutes passed. Then 20. At 30 minutes, I sent a quick text, "Hey, you okay?" No reply. I told myself maybe something came up. I waited another 10. Checked the app. His profile was gone. Just like that. I sat there feeling foolish, staring out at the sunlight bouncing off car hoods. It wasn't the first time I'd been stood up, but something about this felt different. Too abrupt. Too final. I finally left, heels clicking against the sidewalk, heart heavier than when I came. My car was parked 2 blocks away, under a row of oak trees dripping shade across the pavement. The air smelled of cut grass and exhaust. That's when I saw the black sedan. Parked across from my car. Engine running. Windows tinted too dark for daylight. At first, I thought nothing of it. Atlanta is full of cars. But when I unlocked my door, I felt it, the weight of someone watching. That prickling heat at the base of your neck that says eyes are on you. I glanced once, quick. Couldn't see the driver, just the faint outline of a shape behind the glass. My fingers fumbled the keys. My breath went shallow. Then my phone buzzed in my purse. I jumped so hard I almost dropped it. The screen lit up with a new message. Not from Greg. From an unknown number. You shouldn't be here. My fingers shook so hard I nearly dropped the phone. The words burned on the screen, you shouldn't be here. No name. No emoji. Just that flat, final sentence. For a moment, I couldn't breathe. The hum of the sedan's engine grew louder, like it was feeding off my fear. The air felt too thick, like trying to inhale through cotton. I looked around, empty sidewalks, distant traffic humming like white noise. No one nearby. I slid into my car fast, slamming the door so hard it rattled the glass. My heart thudded against my ribs as I locked it and jammed the key into the ignition. My phone buzzed again. I didn't want to look, but I couldn't help it. Go home. Now. I swallowed hard, my throat dry as dust. My eyes flicked to the sedan. It hadn't moved, but I felt the stare from behind those tinted windows like a hand pressing against my skin. I threw the car into reverse, glancing over my shoulder with jerky movements. As I backed out, the sedan crept forward, slow, steady, like it was stretching its legs. My pulse hammered in my ears as I turned onto 10th Street, tires spitting grit. The sedan followed. Not close enough to look obvious. Just enough to let me know. I checked the mirror every few seconds, hoping maybe it would turn off, hoping this was all some sick coincidence. But every light, every lane change, it stayed. I gripped the wheel so tight my fingers ached. My mind scrambled for logic. Maybe it was Uber waiting for a fare. Maybe it was nothing. But deep down, I knew. This wasn't random. Another buzz from the phone. I shouldn't have looked, but I did. You've been warned. My stomach flipped, bile rising in the back of my throat. I hit the gas, heart pounding like fists on a locked door. I took a hard right onto Peachtree, then another, weaving through traffic, hoping to lose it. But the sedan was still there, always 2 cars back, like a shadow stitched to my bumper. I spotted a Kroger up ahead, its lot glowing under harsh white lights. I swung in fast, brakes screeching as I cut toward the front entrance. I parked crooked between 2 cars, lungs heaving like I'd run miles. For a few seconds, I sat frozen, gripping the wheel, watching the entrance in the mirror. The sedan rolled in behind me. It didn't stop at a space. It didn't park. It just crawled through the lanes, slow as syrup, passing my car once. Twice. The windows stayed black, swallowing any sign of who, or what, was inside. Then, just as calmly as it came, it slid back toward the exit and vanished into the night. I stumbled inside the Kroger, pretending to shop while my hands trembled over cans of soup I didn't need. When I finally worked up the nerve to check my phone, the messages were gone. Every thread. Every warning. Like they'd never existed. Greg's profile? Gone too. I didn't go home that night. I drove to a friend's house across town and slept on her couch with all the lights on. That was 3 weeks ago. I deleted the app the next morning, but sometimes, late at night, when the house goes still, I hear that low hum of an engine outside. Just idling. Waiting. I tell myself it's nothing. That it's all in my head. But every time my phone buzzes, I swear my blood turns to ice before I even look. Because deep down, I know this wasn't just about Greg. It wasn't about coffee or conversation or second chances. It was about reminding me where I don't belong. And whoever sent that message, they made sure I'll never forget. A simple coffee date, what could go wrong? She never showed, and I almost shrugged it off as another bad experience. But then came the car. Quiet. Patient. Following every turn like it had a purpose. And the message on my phone? It made me realize the date wasn't the danger. The real danger had been watching me the whole time. I never liked dating apps, but after 36 years of living, working, and watching my circle shrink smaller every year, I told myself to give it one last try. Atlanta can feel like the loneliest city when all your friends are married and your nights stretch quiet and long. It started with a match on a Tuesday. Her name was Lauren. Early 40s, warm smile, deep brown eyes that felt like they'd seen some storms and made it through. Her profile said she loved hiking, good wine, and Sunday mornings with jazz playing low. She felt real. Our conversation flowed easy. She asked about my work, I'm in IT at a logistics company, and told me about her job as a project manager for a nonprofit. We traded playlists. Laughed over childhood stories. For the first time in a while, I felt like someone wasn't just scrolling past me. By Friday, she suggested we meet. Coffee, she wrote. I hesitated, I don't rush these things, but she added, public place, promise. That settled it. We agreed on a cafe downtown, bright and busy on weekends. Saturday at noon. That morning, I took my time getting ready. Navy button-up, clean sneakers, the cologne I save for days that matter. I left early, traffic humming on Peachtree as the city baked under the summer sun. The cafe was tucked on a quiet corner near Piedmont Park, glass walls spilling golden light across neat tables. I parked a block away and walked in, my heart thudding steady like bass. It smelled like fresh espresso and warm pastries. People laughed over laptops and lattes. I chose a table by the window, ordered an iced coffee, and waited. 5 minutes passed. Then 10. I checked my phone, no messages. Her green dot was still lit on the app. I typed, "Hey, I'm here by the window. Blue shirt." Sent. 15 minutes. No reply. I tried again, "Everything okay?" 20 minutes crawled by. I refreshed the app. Her profile was still there. I stared at her smile on the screen, trying to imagine what would make someone vanish without a word. 30 minutes in, my coffee was a puddle of melted ice, and the knot in my stomach had tightened into something sharp. I opened the app again. Her profile was gone. Deleted. Just like that. I sat there another 5 minutes, heat crawling up my neck, feeling the weight of people's eyes that weren't even on me. Then I gathered what was left of my pride and walked out into the blinding sunlight. The air outside felt heavier than before, thick and soupy, like the whole city had turned to molasses. My car was 2 blocks down, parked under the lean shadow of an old oak tree. I walked slow, phone clutched in my hand like a lifeline, brain looping over every possible reason she stood me up. Halfway to my car, the sound hit me first, an engine humming low, steady. I turned my head slightly. A black SUV sat across the street, idling, windows tinted so dark they swallowed the daylight. At first, I told myself it was nothing. Just another car waiting for someone. Just background noise in a busy city. But when I reached my car and slid inside, that hum didn't fade. It grew louder. And when I checked my rearview mirror, I saw the SUV easing out from the curb, slow, patient, pulling into the lane behind me. The air inside my car felt stale, too tight for my lungs. I started the engine, hoping the hum of it would drown out the sound of my heart pounding in my ears. The SUV slid out from the curb behind me, smooth as oil. I told myself not to panic. This was Atlanta, traffic was always thick, people always circling for parking. But when I turned right onto 10th Street, the SUV turned too. 2 cars back. Headlights glowing faint in the afternoon sun. I kept going, trying to act casual, like maybe I had somewhere important to be. My hands clutched the wheel so tight my knuckles whitened against the leather. I switched lanes without signaling, took an early left onto Juniper. My breath caught when I saw it in the mirror, making the same turn without hesitation. Every nerve in my body screamed to run, but where do you run when the threat sits behind a wheel? My phone buzzed on the passenger seat. I grabbed it, hoping maybe, stupidly, it was Lauren with some kind of explanation. It wasn't. No name. Just an unknown number. "Why didn't you leave sooner?" My mouth went dry, words dying in my throat before they could form. My pulse thrummed so hard I could hear it in my head. I pressed the gas, weaving between cars. The city blurred, brick walls, shop windows flashing by like shards of glass. I cut hard onto Piedmont, praying for a crowd, for anything that looked like safety. The SUV followed. Not fast. Not slow. Just steady. That was worse than speeding. Speeding meant impulse. This felt like intent. I scanned for a way out, heart clawing at my ribs. A gas station up ahead spilled harsh white light across the pavement. I swerved in, tires squealing against the slick asphalt, and parked near the front entrance where cameras would catch every move. For a breath, I let myself believe it was over. Then the SUV rolled in behind me. It didn't stop at a pump. It didn't park. It circled once, slow as molasses, passing my car like it was inspecting something. My eyes darted to the windows, dark, impenetrable, like staring into a well with no bottom. Then, as quietly as it came, it slipped toward the exit. For a second, I thought it would leave. I held my breath until my chest ached. It didn't leave. It idled at the exit, engine purring low, like a growl muffled by distance. My skin prickled as I stared in the mirror, the fluorescent glow warping around its black frame. I couldn't see a face, couldn't see anything but my own fear staring back at me in the glass. Finally, it turned out onto the street and melted into the river of traffic. No brake lights, no signal. Gone like smoke. I sat there for what felt like hours, watching the darkness beyond the pumps, waiting for headlights to bloom in the distance. When they didn't, I pulled out, heart still jackhammering, and drove aimlessly through side streets until the city lights thinned and the silence roared in my ears. By the time I made it home, the sky was ink black, my body trembling like it had been rewired for fear. I locked every door twice. Pulled every curtain. Slept with the TV humming to drown out the sound of my thoughts. The next morning, I opened the app. Lauren's profile was gone. Not unmatched, erased, like it had never existed. So was my chat history. Every word wiped clean. I deleted the app. Threw the phone across the couch like that would sever the thread, but the weight in my chest told me otherwise. Because now, every time an engine hums outside my window, I freeze. Every time my phone buzzes, my stomach knots until I check and see it's just a spam text or some discount ad. But I keep thinking about that last message, why didn't you leave sooner? Like whoever sent it wasn't asking a question. They were warning me. And maybe next time, I won't have the chance to answer. I thought it was just another first date. A simple night out, nothing more. But when he never showed, the silence outside felt heavier than it should have. Then came the headlights in my mirror, the messages from an unknown number, and the sinking truth that this wasn't about being stood up, it was about being hunted. I wasn't planning on downloading the app. Not after the last time. But Saturday night stretched long and hollow, and the silence in my apartment was louder than the music drifting from the building next door. At 42, divorced for 3 years, I'd learned that loneliness doesn't hit like a storm, it seeps in slow, until you look up one day and realize you've been waiting for someone to call who never will. So I told myself it was harmless. Just swiping, nothing serious. The profiles scrolled by, a carousel of perfect smiles and curated lives. Men with dogs. Men on boats. Men holding fish like trophies. I almost closed the app when his face appeared. Marcus. 45. Sharp suit in his main photo, warm smile that didn't look forced. His bio was simple, good food, great conversation, and honesty above all. I stared at his picture longer than I meant to. Something about him felt solid. Like someone who knew who he was. I swiped right. It's a match. The message came quick, didn't think a woman like you would swipe on a guy like me. I laughed under my breath, thumbs tapping back something light. We talked for an hour. Then 2. He told me about his work in finance, his teenage son, the house he was renovating in the West End. I told him about my job in HR, how I spend weekends at the farmer's market when I'm not catching up on books. By the end of the night, he asked if I'd like to meet. My stomach fluttered, that nervous spark I hadn't felt in years. I said yes. We picked a wine bar downtown, Thursday at 7 p.m., busy, public, well-lit. Safe. Thursday came warm and bright, the kind of evening that hums with the leftover heat of the day. I took extra care getting ready, a black wrap dress, soft curls framing my face, just enough makeup to feel like myself turned up a notch. The bar sat tucked on a quiet street lined with boutiques, its front glowing gold under a canopy of string lights. I parked a block away and walked slow, heels tapping against the pavement. Inside, laughter curled through low jazz, the air scented with oak and red wine. I found a table near the front, back to the wall so I could see the door. Ordered a glass of Merlot and waited. 7:15. 7:30. I checked my phone. No message. His green dot was still lit on the app. I typed, "Hey, just making sure you're okay." Sent. 7:45. The wine tasted bitter now, pooling cold on my tongue. My stomach knotted. I refreshed the app. His profile was still there. I stared at that photo, Marcus in his suit, smiling like he belonged to a life that didn't include disappearing on people. 8 o'clock. The profile vanished. Just gone. Like he'd been erased from the digital earth. I sat frozen for a beat, heat crawling up my neck, the low hum of conversation around me blurring into static. Then I left, stepping into the velvet dark of the street, phone clutched in my hand like it might explain something. Anything. My car waited under a flickering streetlight 2 blocks down. The air outside smelled like rain though the sky was clear, heavy and metallic. Halfway to the car, I heard it, an engine purring low, steady. I turned my head just enough to see the shape of a black sedan idling at the curb across the street. No lights on. Windows tinted so dark they swallowed the night. At first, I told myself it was nothing. Just someone waiting for a friend. But when I slid into my car and started the engine, the sedan's headlights flared to life, bright, white, blinding. And when I pulled into the street, it pulled too. The glow from those headlights burned against my mirrors like a warning flare. My throat tightened as I eased onto the main road, the hum of my engine drowned out by the blood rushing in my ears. I told myself it was coincidence. That's all. A busy city. People go the same way all the time. But when I turned left at the first intersection, the sedan turned too. Not close enough to seem reckless. Just steady. Deliberate. My palms slicked against the wheel. I tried another turn, right this time, onto a quieter side street lined with old brick apartments and puddles that mirrored the yellow of streetlights. The sedan followed. Every nerve in my body screamed to keep moving, but I didn't want to lead it home. My mind raced through options: gas station, police station, somewhere with people, somewhere with cameras. I spotted a 24-hour pharmacy up ahead, its sign glowing like a beacon. I pressed the gas. My phone buzzed on the passenger seat, screen flaring like lightning in the dark. I grabbed it without thinking. Unknown number. Nice dress. The breath punched out of me in a sharp gasp. My fingers clenched the phone so tight it might have shattered. I glanced at the mirror, heart thudding so hard it hurt. The sedan was closer now. Too close. Another message blinked onto the screen. Take the next left. I didn't. I shot straight through the intersection, tires hissing against wet pavement, ignoring the honk from a car I cut off. My pulse roared like thunder in my ears. The pharmacy lights glowed brighter with each block. Relief pricked at the edges of my panic. I swung hard into the lot, brakes squealing as I slid into a space near the door. People moved in and out under the harsh white glow. Safety. Or so I thought. The sedan rolled in behind me. Slow. Too slow. It didn't stop at a space. Didn't park. It crawled past my car, windows black as oil, engine rumbling low like a growl. For a moment, it idled at the edge of the lot. My breath hitched, body frozen, nails digging crescents into the steering wheel. Then it turned toward the exit. I waited for it to leave the lot. It didn't. It just sat there at the far end, engine humming, headlights throwing long, distorted shadows across the asphalt. Watching. I bolted from the car and into the store, the blast of fluorescent lights stabbing my eyes. My heart jackhammered as I grabbed a basket I didn't need, pretending to shop while every muscle in my body screamed to look outside. 5 minutes later, I forced myself to peek through the glass doors. The sedan was gone. Or maybe it wasn't. Maybe it just slipped into another shadow, waiting for me to believe I was safe. I asked the cashier to walk me to my car, lying about a dead battery just to keep someone beside me. He did. The lot was empty, but emptiness didn't feel like comfort anymore. By the time I got home, My nerves were so raw I double-locked every door and checked the windows twice. My phone buzzed while I paced the living room, and I jumped so hard I almost screamed. Another message. Same number. Good night, beautiful. I stared at it until the letters blurred. I blocked the number, deleted the app, turned my phone face down on the couch like that could erase what had just happened. But tonight, lying in bed with the lights on, I swear I hear it, that low purr of an engine somewhere outside. Waiting. And the worst part? Whoever they are, they know exactly where I live. Thanks so much for watching. Your support truly means the world to me. Every like, every comment helps this channel grow and keeps me going. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button and share your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss a new upload. My dream right now is to reach 100 subscribers, and with your help, I know it's possible. See you in the next one.